This is the problem with America. You have to stop telling us on what to do.
Hello world, hello Africa. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. If you are new here, kindly don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for keeping me alive. Now, in today's video, I'm going to react on this Malaysian lawyer, Dr. Ahmed Abdul Razak, who is a well-respected lawyer in Malaysia, where he confronted USA Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Now, in this video, I just want you to watch it, and then after watching it, it's a very, very great video where this guy gave praises to African countries like South Africa, like Guinea, who are standing against the oppressors, defending the people, you know. Let's watch this video, and then we go react on it.
I want to start by arguing that at this particular moment, the world is witnessing that the Western domination is continuously being challenged. Just a couple of weeks ago in Vientiane, in Laos, during the ASEAN summit, the top American diplomat with the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, and urged Malaysia to distance itself from certain nations, Russia in particular. Prime Minister's response was very resolute. He reminded the diplomat that Malaysia is a sovereign nation, and in no uncertain terms, he made it very clear to him that this is the problem with America. You have to stop telling us on what to do. Moments like these are one of the many that reflects a profound shift in our world. In 2019, Gambia, on behalf of 57 OIC member countries, filed a case before the International Court of Justice against Myanmar for its failure to stop the atrocities towards the Rohingyas. Now, this is Gambia, ladies and gentlemen. This is a country with GDP per capita of only $844 US, standing up on behalf of the voiceless, not a Western superpower, not the so-called champions of human rights, but a small country determined to seek justice for others who had hesitated. More recently, we witnessed the initiative by South Africa. They brought a case against Israel for genocides in Palestine, in Gaza, before the International Court of Justice. South Africa's stand in this particular case illustrates the rising moral courage that has been manifested by the world majority, a courage that refused to be silent. Now, after 8 decades of this so-called Western-led global governance, we are witnessing a live stream genocide happening in Gaza, and we failed to do something about it, especially the West failed to do something about it. I was in Washington, in New York, very recently. We had a very, a constructive meeting with the Americans, and we made it very clear to them that the key is in your hand. You have the power to resolve this. No one else has leverage over Israel. But look, what has happened is that America has been part of this genocide. They have been supplying weapons, they have been encouraging it, they have not been able to stop this genocide from happening. I think it is time for us, the global majority, to take a leadership position. We are the largest stakeholders in the future of this planet. We are almost 90% of the global population. We are non-Western, non-white, non-colonials. We are no longer the spectators of global events. Across Latin America, Africa, Asia, we are stepping forward. We are acting independently from the West in the ways that were once unthinkable, reclaiming our voice and our agency. Consider the Belt and Road Initiative that was mooted by China a couple of years ago. When China first mooted the idea, presented it to the global community, the most powerful country in the world launched a campaign to dissuade countries like Malaysia and many others not to participate. But yet, 140 countries saw the future in this vision and chose to be part of it. And more recently, 124 countries voted in favor of the United Nations resolution demanding that Israel comply with international law, cease its settlement activities, and withdraw from the occupied territory. The United States voted against it. Many of its Western allies abstained. They chose silence in the face of justice. They were unwilling to stand up for international law and for Palestinian freedom. Now, given these dynamics, I think it's time for us to retire the term Global South. Since the dawn of the Western-dominated order, we have been subjected to many labels. We used to be called underdeveloped, then they categorize us into the first world, second world, and third world country. This reflects the potentials, this failed to reflect the true potentials of a country like Malaysia, for example, a country like Indonesia, a country like Philippines, for example. How can you lump these ASEAN countries into just a term of Global South when we are one of the most energized economy globally, when we are providing leaderships in terms of growth, in terms of technological innovation, in terms of energy transition, in terms of even globalization, you know? I think it's time for us to abandon this categorization that no longer serves us. It is time that we embrace a new term. I do not know whether we should call ourselves a global majority, a world majority, whatever, you know. I think this term is the new term is very important to serve as a reminder to the Western world that we are not minority. We do not want to be defined by the Western standards. We are a sovereign people. We are the center of our own lives. We are not Southern. We are not underdeveloped. We are not less civilized. And our values are not inferior to Western values. Now, please not be mistaken that this is not a rhetoric anti-West. We are not. Malaysia is a very friendly country. We have a policy of 1 million friends, enemies to none. But I think it is very important for the voice of the world majority to be respected and to be heard. Look at the recent events that is happening globally. That has amplified the voice of the world majority. In COP27 in 2022, the Barbados Prime Minister introduced the Bridgetown Initiative, a very transformative plan to reshape global finance and provide better support to nations vulnerable to climate change. In September 2022, at the G20 summit, the African Union secured a permanent seat, amplifying the voice of a vast region often silent. And when India, a member of Quad, was expected to isolate Russia, it instead deepened economic relations with Russia, showing our alliances are now based on our own interests, not the interests of the West. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization has continuously been invited by the chair of ASEAN and is regular in the ASEAN Summit. Today, BRIC countries are contributing to more than 35% of the global GDP, and its membership is growing dramatically, while G7 membership remains stagnant. It is time that the developed world stop treating the global majority as a mere playground for a zero-sum game of superpower competition. Now, I want to focus now to what can bring us together. I think number one, the thing that unites us is markets, our market. Together, we represent 90% of the global population. Think about that. Nearly 9 out of every 10 people on this planet are part of this global majority. That is a staggering force, an unprecedented potential. We are not just market, we are the marketplace. When we unite, we hold in our hands the power to drive demand, to shape the flow of trade, to support each other's industries, and to build economies around the world. We don't have to depend on anyone else. So we have everything we need right here among ourselves to create an engine of prosperity that lifts us all. Second, it's our commitment to planetary health. Here is the hard truth. The world majority is not responsible for most of the carbon emissions that is warming our planet. The blame lies largely elsewhere with the developed world. But it is in our land, our communities, our people who suffers first and suffer the most. Rising sea waters, spreading deserts, storm of unprecedented fury. We live these consequences every day, ladies and gentlemen. And yet it is our community that are stepping up, innovating, leading the charge for climate change. We don't have to wait to be safe. We should lead the way. It is in our best interest to protect the planet. It is not for others to help us. It is really about helping our own survival. And the last one, I think we need new political project. We need modern cooperation. I think enough of this security partnership beyond geopolitical blocks. We need to look into how we can work together in new areas like artificial intelligence, for example. There is a huge gap between the developed and the developing worlds when it comes to artificial intelligence. But no one is actually helping the developing countries like Malaysia, for example, to develop our capacity when it comes to artificial intelligence. Let's work together to probably build a platform for education and bring education using technology to the last, to the least, to the most destitute of the global population. Let's look at how we can actually empower women, how we can actually bring technology to empower new kind of entrepreneurships. I think this is the kind of projects that we should really focus, and this is more meaningful than continue to engage with ourselves with the rhetorics of global politics.
Welcome back. This is from Malaysian lawyer, a well-respected lawyer who is known to speak bold and loudly on things that's happening. We know him, and I was addressing U.S. State Secretary. Now, he talked a lot of things. He talked about USA dominance and how USA think, or they keep on telling us or trying to direct us or trying to tell us what to do. And US as a superpower, they think they can control everybody and they can tell anyone to whom to join hands with it or whom to be friends with it. Like a lot of countries, for example, in Africa, they are being restricted by USA to be friends with Russia, for example. That's for example. And this Malaysian president has called out the USA. If you are the superpower, if you claim you have the capability, why don't you stop these wars that's going on? For example, the Gaza genocide. Why are you not stopping what's happening in Congo? Why are you not stopping what's happening in Sudan? You are the superpower. You are the one who you are claiming to have this power, but yet you are still the one who are supporting these genocides to happen in these countries. But countries like Guinea, small country like South Africa, they are standing between these people and telling them that you need to stop this. You need to stop the killings in Palestine. You need to stop doing this to Gaza because we are one. Okay? So I don't want to manipulate more of what he has said. You have heard what he said. And he is just straightforward, confronting this USA without any fear, and the fear of contradiction, without any fear that something will happen. This needs balls, man. He just said, he addressed the elephant in the room. Bold and direct, fearless to the US. Because USA is in between a lot of atrocities happening in most of the countries. Let us be realistic here. They are the superpower. Sometimes we think they are the best, but behind the curtains, They are the ones sponsoring one or the other. And again, they are the one who are there giving medical assistance too. They are the one who are there building the camps, these refugees camps, supporting. So it's so awkward how you bite and you take a cell tape trying to make the injury or to heal the where you have injured. And Malaysian lawyers said it is time now to end the dominance of USA. Because if you cannot use your dominance to do something for the people, why are you dominating? Why? Because if USA is dominating, they have the capability to end a lot of atrocities happening. They have the capability to end the war in Gaza, the genocide in Gaza. They have the capability to end what is happening in Sudan. They have the capability to end the Palestine something. They have the capability. But if they're the superpower, if they are the one in dominance and they can't end it, then let us change the ball to someone else. Let us change the ball to people who can have the interest of the people. Let us give it to Russia. Let us give it to China. Let us give to other countries that need to see a lot of countries is going on forward well. A country like Guinea from Africa, he has given example, praised the African countries, which is a small country somewhere deep Africa, is standing against the weak, standing and telling international that this is bad. You need to stop doing this to the people. Need to stop these atrocities to the people. But the USA is quiet. Doesn't say anything because I don't think maybe they are supporting. So it was straight and direct to their face. I loved it. I loved how he said. I loved how he left no stone unturned on the USA side. By the way, I think it's time to change guard. I think it's time USA now to know that we have some people who are capable to do or to take that mantle of being superpower. I think it is time now, each and every country, and we need to have a superpower from Africa. I can't wait to have South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya being superpower. You know, I can't wait. I don't know if it will happen in our time, but one day it will happen. One day it will happen where you get superpower coming from Africa or the continent of Africa being a superpower. So just tell me what you think of the video, because I don't have much to say, but all I just say is that USA need to change or need to be the one who are standing against this genocide, who are standing against these killings, who are standing against the weaker countries, who are preventing some things to happen. They are the one who needs to do this. Instead, they are supporting. So tell me what you think on the comment section. Do you love the word Malaysian lawyer said? Do you love how bold he was? What do you think on the comment section? Okay? If you haven't subscribed on my YouTube channel, kindly do that. Kindly comment, like, and share. And until next episode, I say peace be with you.